is an update on the CTE building by Mr. Bolin. Item number 5 is an action item for our consent agenda. Item 6 is a proposal of the 25-26 instructional staff calendar. Item 7 is a proposal of the athletic admissions increase for the Snake River Valley. Item 8 is a proposal for the migrant education field trip. Item 9 is a resolution calling for annual trustee elections. Item 10 is a time reserved for citizens' comments. Item number 11 is an action item to approve or deny the 25-26 instructional staff calendar. Item 12 is an action item to approve or deny the sports admission increase starting in 2025. Item 13 is to approve or deny the migrant education field trip to the state of Idaho University. Item 14 is an action item to approve or deny the resolution of the annual trustee elections. Item 15 is board reports and policies. Item 16 is superintendent report. Item 17 is executive session. Item 18 is any actions pertaining to that executive session. And item 19 is the adjournment. Moving back up to the top, I'll turn the time over to Mr. Bolin for an update on our new CTE building. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to help you out on this project. It's a project that's probably every community should have. But anyways, I want to thank you for that. Joseph, my son, would have been here to help with this presentation. It's not going to be a long presentation, but like I was telling Mr. Croft, he decided to have a baby tonight. Well, his wife. But anyways. Yeah, Joseph. Yeah. So, anyways, just an update. We started this project actually February 11th. We started with demolition, obviously. We also laid out the new plumbing lines, which are quite a bit of plumbing lines, the sewer lines going in. There's no sewer lines inside the building other than the only bathroom that is up front in the culinary arts area. So we had to lay those out, jackhammer those up, run new lines, which we just passed the inspection Monday, and then this past couple of days we've filled those in. We've poured cement, it's leveled out and everything. Doesn't look like anything's there other than lines stuffed up out of the cement floor. We have three quarters of the demolition is done. Some of the doors we aren't demoing until we get to them to frame, simply because, well, recently it's been kind of cold. It's warmed up though, but we want to keep, the heat's on because we do have water. The sprinkler system's still in there. We do have water throughout the building, so we couldn't let that freeze. So we've started framing up, and I think Shelby copied off some pictures there for you. We started framing yesterday. And the first picture there is just 3 of the garage doors we pulled out. That's one of the walls to the welding room, to the welding area, which we're putting in 17 new booths in there. Then the next picture is the wall that separates the mechanic shop and 2 of the classrooms. And the next one is the wall, another just angle of it. Then the next one would be the welding room wall, which all these walls have to be fireproof. They're firewall. The inside of the welding rooms calls for metal all the way up to the top for the architecture's drawings and stuff, and then engineering drawings. And the next 3 are just cinder blocks. We're taking out windows, doors, and stuff like that, and time will be out this week to block those in. And that's pretty much it for right now. What's on the agenda next week is, or the end of this week and next week, we're meeting with Burke Electric to go over some of the final things to start roughing in. We've already torn out all the electrical that we're not going to use. We've torn out quite a bit of the lighting in the shop area, but we are going to reuse that someplace. There's nothing wrong with that lighting. We'll obviously change it from fluorescent to LED. We've also started excavating for the 2 buildings, the 2 rooms, the office for the welding teacher, and then the grinding room. We probably will have that framed up by tomorrow. And that's really about it. It's moving along real quickly. Also, if any of you ever want a tour of this, if you want to come down and look, somebody here has my phone number, and we're more than happy to show it to you. It's actually, it doesn't sound like much, but we got quite a bit done. And now we're trying to, that we've done this, we're gonna get all the framing in. So now we're gonna start focusing on phase B, or actually phase A, because what do you call that, portion A on the drawings. That's the part where the mechanic shop, the welding shop, and the construction end of it. That's our priority right now, unless something changes. And then we'll move to do the other stuff mainly. And that would include the faculty room, the bathrooms, where we took out that one storage room and put in 2 boys' bathrooms, 2 girls' bathrooms. We're remodeling the bathroom up in the culinary arts section. And those will all be framed in today, before the weekend, probably Friday at the latest. That's about it. If you have any questions?
He's being modest, the speed they're going at is way, that actually surpasses what Alvin and I were looking at, and we were talking with the architects. We're about a month to about a month and a half ahead of where we hoped to be at this point, so he's going
we've got really good people that are helping us out with this. And I don't know, most of them are, almost all of them are local. We opted, and I think Mr. Croft agrees, and we ought to do is local. What we normally do is we start, it's a Payette project, I live in Payette. We start in the Payette School District. We notify the people that might have the skills that we need to do these things. And then we work our way out. We usually go Payette, Fruitland, Leisure, New Plymouth, and Ontario. Now, there are some things that those people, a lot of like HVAC, weren't prepared to take care of. And it's a big job, and most of them around here don't. We did contact them. They just weren't interested. So those we have to go out of the area for fire control stuff, the fire repression or suppression. I'm sorry. There's only so many in the Idaho area actually that do it. We're moving. Can't stand still. So, any other questions?
Great. Okay, great progress.
Great, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for the opportunity to provide.
Thank you very much.
Right. Item number 5, action item for the consent agenda. For
Mr. Chairman,
sure.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 6 is a proposal for the 25-26 instructional staff calendar, which is in our packet. Ms. Holcomb, are you presenting?
So this is a copy of the staff calendar, and from this calendar we will then formulate a couple of different calendars. The student calendar will come from this, and also the administrative calendar, but this is kind of the engine that drives all of them. And so some of the highlights that are on this, and this calendar we started with this calendar and we did meet with the committee of teachers, the PA, or the Payette Education Association was present, and administrators. We also included, the committee was pretty comprehensive. It had the athletic directors on it, curriculum was involved. I mean, it was a very comprehensive committee of different people, different stakeholders to represent different interests. And so we brought them all together and walked away feeling like we were able to explain what we were presenting, and so that everybody was on board with what we were trying to accomplish. and that is to try to get instructional days and then also certified staff. And the difference is that we're at the same number of student days that we were this last year, and we actually are going up a half day, and I'll explain that on certified staff days. So a couple of the key highlights is that we wanted to be in a situation where we could do some kind of open house, and that's where the extra half day is. So we added in August a day where we would do, on August 18th, an open house from 3 to 8 p.m. in all of our schools where the community and parents could come in the afternoon. So that's the extra half day. It's a long day for the teachers. That would be the extra half day. But they would be able to invite people to come in and see where their kids are going to school, but during more of the evening hours, so that they could come in and see their classrooms, talk to their teachers, and do some fun things. The principals are talking about doing, barbecues or doing, some kind of festivities to get the community engaged and do those things so that we have that touchstone or that touch point with them. Then the other thing that the committee felt really strongly, and we talked a lot about this, was the additional days that we did this year for the first time in January. We haven't done Martin Luther King or President's Day off for a long time, but the teachers really felt that those were good days to have during the year. A lot of the students take those off anyway because their parents are off, and it gives families good times to be together. It also is good for our staff. It's a good way to recognize our staff for the time that they're doing it, and so we've had low attendance days on those anyway, so we might as well use those. The other thing that we did is starting back in January, with students starting back on January 6th instead of the 5th. One of the things that has happened historically is that the teachers leave and everyone's done with school. We leave for Christmas, and then the staff comes back. We're not quite ready because they're trying to prep over Christmas break. And then we're in a situation where if we come back and we do an in-service, anything new that's happened, and so we're ready to hit the ground when the kids come in, and we're there in the buildings ahead of time with a little more prep and have some time to do some orientation, some staff developments and things like that before. I think that we'll be a little bit more prepared when the kids come back on that day. What that does with some of those things right there is the way that the calendar falls is that it would cause us to come back for 3 days after Memorial Day, which is not something that all of us talked about, but when we looked at those positives in the calendar, and then also not going back farther into August, which the weather in May is not always, it's iffy, and the weather in August is hot. We would prefer, we decided we would prefer to err on that way and have more summer, where it's not hot and miserable, and be in the classroom for those additional 3 days. So when we talked to the committee about which would you rather do you want to come back in August or lose those days throughout the year, the committee felt strongly that it would be better to have those 3 iffy days at that particular point than it would be to have those situations.
The other issue was Memorial Day is really early.
Yeah.
On the calendar, it's the 25th for next year, which is like one of the earlier dates you can have Memorial Day. And so, we'd still be getting out of school on the 28th. And a lot of calendars, it doesn't get out until that weekend, 27th, 28th weekend
Right.
anyways. So we figured no harm, no foul.
Yeah, we're still out waiting for June 1st, which a lot of schools, even in Idaho, go into June, might go into the first week of June. So we felt really strongly, that is the one negative on the calendar is going those 3 additional days. But we've really felt like, and when we presented it to the committee, that there were enough other positives that they felt like, not starting on August 11th in school, which some people are still on vacation, or not having those family breaks for the 3-day holidays, it was worth it. So that's what we did. And then one thing that isn't on this calendar, which will be on the student calendar, is that we will do a kindergarten orientation that will also happen on the 18th, the same day as the first day of school in the open house. But that will appear on the student calendar, and we'll actually probably add it to this one too. But anyway, does anyone have any questions about this?
One other bonus too is having teachers together for an entire week before school starts. That gives them a chance, a couple days to be in the classroom, which they all leave without meetings, and then it gives you time for the meetings as well. So you have some days you can use trainings, but still plenty of time where they can just be in the classrooms, which was a big request.
Doesn't this give us like a full week after the Payette County Fair before we go back to?
It does. So that has been, and we've played with that a lot, that's been one of the issues from the community, and as we're starting to build more of our CTE programs, the Payette County Fair actually will take place the week of the 4th through the 7th. And so what we've done is if we move everything up, and the teachers are in, doing some workshop days the week of the Payette County Fair, school starts the week after, there's no break for the kids, there's no break for the teachers. And so this allows us to have fair week, have a week where the teachers are in session and the kids. So it does break that up for those families that are involved in those things.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Holden. Item number 7 is proposal of the athletic admissions increase. Not sure if anyone's presenting, however, basically the Snake River Valley has voted to increase athletic admission fees for the 25-26 school year. We've always been at the $6, the increase would move to $8 for general admission and $6 for senior citizens and students without an activity card. The downside of this is being part of the Snake River Valley is a requirement that we go along with them. But it is on our agenda. If there's anything else I'm missing, Dr. Croft or Ms. Fletcher? Oh, sorry, I apologize.
It's fine, don't worry about it. I can fill in for JB real quick. There's just a couple things that JB wanted me to talk about. Because the members, athletic directors, and SRB have chosen to vote on it, we definitely need to do so and try to align with the SRB. As far as our end specifically, when you talk about costs and margins of costs and where we need to go and why we need to do this is so that we can create more of those margins. So an example for us this school year already, before spring sports, we've already spent $22,000 on referees. If we don't continue to get more gate through participation and through upping the fee, that deficit margin becomes harder and harder to take on. And we've got to look at different items to be able to pay those referees. So it can become very scary. We also have the cost of help at events. You've got people taking booth, you've got people taking clock, scoreboard, supervision, et cetera, and we want to be able to pay them. And this would also go towards those costs. But at the end of the day, these increases in fees help us get to that margin so that our deficit can be less and less and kind of really help us out. And the SRB is kind of behind the times. We're a little bit behind. West Ada is already at these numbers, and some of the other Treasure Valley school districts are already at this number, and so the SRB decided it's time. So,
Just curious, does any percentage of that go back to an SRB entity, or is it just
it does a little bit, and then it also does, it even goes to IHSAA when we get into like postseason play as well. In fact, we don't take any of that really. So we really have to push for those conference and non-conference games to get as many people and increase that number so that we can get that margin. But yeah, some of it goes to SRB. We pay each other back and forth, and it's an interesting dynamic of funds for sure. Yeah, good question. Any other questions?
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, sir.
Yep.
All right. Item number 8 is a proposal for the migrant education field trip.
Good
Or yours, how are you?
You're going to prison. So I was kind of short. So every year, we, Park Parties are advisory in our country program. But we're going to be we like to take the kids to Hotel this year. We want the kids to, experience a different college. We actually took the kids to, Bolin and to, Lewis Park. So we should want them to, Payette. So the agenda right in front of you, we have the agenda. There's her name is Leslie Maldonado. She's going to be helping, she's going to be helping with the tour. There's another here.
I can talk about my experience at least with these types of trips. So last year was my first year here at Payette in general. They actually asked me to be a chaperone originally for it because they need a male chaperone. I knew some of the students. I was like, cool, yeah, let's go on a field trip and we'll see how this goes. I genuinely did not know how much it impacted me, seeing the impact it made on these kids. Because, especially as a math teacher, kids can get a little squirrely in class and act up a little bit. So, to be frank, I was a little nervous about that. Seeing how much they matured over a single weekend in front of older people, whether it's college or professors in general, was awesome. That was one. Seeing the unity they brought within the students themselves. I had a few kids who came up and said, hey, I've got a problem with this kid or this kid. After the weekend, they're like, can we keep this same group and come back next year? It's incredible. On the flip side of it, or the more, I guess I'd say, intense side of it, I have a lot of students come to me with certain worries about their future and issues, and I started something last year with one of my classes. Actually went to Mr. Taylor's office because I was worried I was going outside my bounds of a math teacher. I had them write, what is success to you? I didn't care what it was. It could be a Ferrari, it could be a nice job, it could be family, whatever. Because unfortunately they had a certain person who's no longer hired here, no longer at the district, who told them to their face, one of our students on this list, you are going to be a failure in life. So he came to me and says, you think I can be successful? I'm worried, terrified, scared of the future. We went to U of I. Oh my goodness, me, Miss Esquivel, and Miss McAvoy, we just walked around, let them do their thing. After when we came back, it was, can I be successful? Like, I can't wait to be successful. Like, we can do something like this. And especially for our kids who, a lot of them have never been out of Payette, never been out of this valley. They might not go to U of I, they might not go to ISU, but seeing the options has like brought a levity to them, and it was really amazing seeing it. And we have a few of our students, the ones who currently now are president, vice president, just through that trip, whether it's at the college itself, or here we want to go to Hot Spring, or we went to the mall last year. That's kind of where the leadership comes out. It's not quiet in the classroom. It's people moving around. Someone messes up, we're here to fix it, and then leaders show up. So the whole weekend is a way to show these kids, like, there is stuff out there. It's amazing. You have an opportunity to be successful. And as I said, it truly impacted me, like, as a teacher. I was like, cool, field trip. Now it's, these are the things, this is why I want to be a teacher. Just seeing that hope in their eyes is incredible. And I was lucky enough to where they asked me to be an advisor towards the end because I think we really bonded over a few things over the weekend. But trips like this, I hope we can just continue to take them, and I hope to be along for the ride.
Just believing when they want somebody to say, hey, you know, you think I can do it? Absolutely, you can.
Exciting. It's a good time, 13 students so far?
14.
Yes, it's there.
So what my apologies, I forgot one student.
Oh, so 14.
14. My apologies. Yes,
And the trip is covered by our federal minor funds.
Okay.
yes.
Any other questions?
Have fun.
Oh, we will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Item number 10 is citizens' comments. Sentinel, have you received any?
Not at this time, Mr. President.
All right, I appreciate it. Item number 11 is the action item to approve or deny the 25 and 26 instructional staff calendar. The floor is open.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Short.
I move that we approve the 2025-26 instructional staff calendar as presented.
Is there a second? Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the 25-26 instructional staff calendar as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 12, that is an action item to approve or deny the sports admission increase starting for the fall of 2025.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Stewart,
I move that we approve the sports admission increase starting fall of 25.
is there a second? Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the sports admission increase starting the fall of 2025. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion passes unanimously. Item number 13 is the approve or deny of the migrant education field trip to the Idaho State University.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Tebow,
I move to approve the migrant education field trip to the Idaho State University.
there's
I second that.
been properly moved and seconded to approve the migrant education field trip to the Idaho State University. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion passes unanimously. Item number 14, the approval of deny of the resolution for the annual trustees election. Did I skip that part?
Yep, you did.
I did, I'm sorry.
So let's go back.
Let's go back to number 8. I apologize about that. I was too busy checking off boxes.
Number 9.
I'll do what I want. You guys just wait. Item number 9 is the resolution for calling for the annual trustee election. In this year, we have the zones 1, 3, and 5 that will be coming due for re-election or for election. Ms. Fletcher, take us through that.
Yes, whereas in accordance with section 33503 Idaho Code as amended with the Board of Trustees, Payette Joint School District 371, shall cause to be conducted its trustee election on the Tuesday following the first Monday in November for the purpose of electing trustees for zones 1 and for zone 3 and for zone 5. Therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees, Payette Joint School District 371 for Payette and Washington counties.
Excellent.
So this is all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, now we're just get back to 14.
Okay, great.
Okay, thanks.
Wait, is there any discussion?
Is there any discussion on the? Excellent. All right, the floor is open.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Stewart.
I move to approve the resolution for annual trustee elections.
There's a second. Been properly moved and seconded to approve the resolution for annual trustee elections. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimously. I was all excited about this U of I, or the hotel trip.
So you just skipped it.
Yeah, that's my story, I'm sticking to it. You don't need
We don't need this anyway.
to. No. All right, item number 15 for board reports and policies. We'll start with the board reports, as I do not have any.
That's okay. Why don't we have any comments? I think that's rude.
I'm still missing number
You
9.
did technically say that he got excited about the ice.
That's my comment, all right, those are the comments.
All right, and then we move on to superintendent report and,
You're okay. You're okay. Yeah.
Mess of saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to mess this up on my.
All right, I'm Kate Cox, I'm the Dean of Students at Payette Primary School. I will be reading our report that Mrs. Burns put together for us. Dear Payette School Board
Wait.
Trustees.
Where's Mrs. Burns? Good.
We've had a month full of learning, laughter, and community spirit at Payette Primary. From exciting hands-on science projects to heartfelt celebrations, our students and staff have been engaged in meaningful experiences that highlight the best of our school. Here's a look at what's been happening this month. 4th grade owl pellet dissection. Our 4th graders had an unforgettable experience dissecting owl pellets. This hands-on science lesson sparked curiosity as students uncovered bones, identified prey species, and made real-world connections to food chains and ecosystems. The excitement and a little bit of food in the room made it a memorable experience for all. 2nd grade patriotic music program. Our 2nd graders put on a heartwarming patriotic music program, singing songs that honor our country and its history. Families were thrilled with the performance and our students did an outstanding job. During Bus Driver Appreciation Week, we took time to show our appreciation for the incredible team of bus drivers who safely transport our students every day. A homemade breakfast was served as a small token of our deep gratitude for all they do. Cheering on our high school cheerleaders, our students had a blast sending off the Payette High School cheerleaders to state competition with cheers and lots of enthusiasm. It's always inspiring to see our little ones supporting the bigger kids. After all, they are our future high schoolers. Staff Underground Dress Up Day. Who knew my staff enjoyed dressing up as much as they do? Our staff got creative and secretive costumes, and tried to get other staff members and students guessing their dress up theme. These moments of silliness make school a joyful place to learn. Huge growth in our PTO. One of our most exciting updates is the huge increase in membership in our parent-teacher organization, PTO. With this amazing boost in parent involvement, we are full steam ahead in planning our upcoming spring carnival. This event is shaping up to be bigger and better than ever, with more volunteers, creative ideas, and community support. We can't wait to bring everyone together for a fun-filled evening. A special welcome back. Emma, a second grader who missed a full month of school due to surgery, has returned to school with a huge smile and was met with cheers and hugs from classmates. Her resilience and spunky spirit have been inspiring, and it was heartwarming to see how excited her friends and teachers were to have her back. Moments like these remind us just how much our school is a family. Leslie Burns, Payette Primary Principal.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. Lots of fun stuff going on at McCain Middle School right now. Boys basketball season came to an end last week. Actually, it's been a week before that. Our 8th grade team finished 3-7. They were competitive. They missed by 1 game, making the 14 playoff. 7th grade, they went 0-10 and made some significant growth. Right now we've got boys and girls track and tennis that are underway, so they're practicing tonight. I should have numbers for you next time, but depends on the show up. So, we added this year a jazz band, which is cool for middle school. Our jazz band attended a middle school jazz festival that was over in Nampa on Saturday, March 1st. They performed in front of judges, competed in solo competitions. The feedback from the judges was positive and constructive. And then Minnesota took the jazz band and went to Wendy's for lunch, and they went to Crumble Cookies, so they had good times. And then on Tuesday, March 4th, we had our third quarter choir concert at the high school auditorium. Our 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in choir performed along with the high school choirs. And it was a fantastic performance. Mrs. Schmidt's doing a great job. We had our second student-led conferences. We followed up on our fall student-led conferences. We had our spring. We had a good turnout, good solid traffic on both nights. Overall feedback was positive, and it's always fun to see the kids come in and take assessment of their own, how they're doing. We had put together some slides that talked about, things they're doing well, things they need to work on, all kinds of reports in there. And then they just come and they tell the parents how they're doing. So we kind of make those kind of fun. And then they have the opportunity to talk to any of the teachers they want in the comments. So it's kind of a no-wait kind of system too, which is great for parents, kids. I don't know if you want to, I didn't see it on the agenda for the playground. Do you want to come back to that?
We can come back to it, because.
We'll come back to that.
When exactly do you plan to be ordered?
I should have the final invite from them by this week.
I can always put it, look at the actual dollar amount when it all comes in. I didn't put it up because we didn't have the final input, dollar. It's about the playground. You can talk about it though, I mean. Sure. Please feel free.
So we looked at lots of options. It's surprising they're very proud of their playground equipment. Some of these companies, the costs have gone up astronomically. But after talking with, staff and student council, we got some input. They have these little things that are called performance domes. And so they're like, it's like, it's got a radius of like, 20 feet across. And then, about 15 feet high, it's got layers of things they can climb on. It's all reinforced steel cables with, that are insulated. Can't cut it, burn it, it comes with warranty, it's all pretty solid stuff, it's cemented in. But they have different levels they can climb on and do different stuff. And then I'm talking with Dr. Croft, we're adding a second piece, and it's actually, they're actually giant octagons with climbing holes on them, and they spin in the ground. It goes up to about 12 feet in height, which is cool. It's got like a kind of rock climb on that. And then the performance zones goes to about 14, 15 feet. So it's geared for older students. We've already broken ground as far as the dirt work goes. So out near where the football practice field is out back there, on the end where the cross-country path is, there's a little area there. We flattened that out with some tractor equipment this week, and we're ready to go for them to come in and install it. And it's also, we're managed to get it in pirate colors and matching the equipment, so it matches each other, so it looks really sharp as well. So they're just working on the final details on that.
There's a couple things. One was, that was one of the promises we made to the community that kind of stemmed from our town halls, is that the fifth graders moving over, and you know, the sixth and even the seventh and eighth is having some kind of a older child, they call them ninja courses. They have different things where they can climb around, you know, regardless of ages. I mean, you probably get high school kids that want to play on it. But having something out there that our fifth graders who lost the playground at former West Side, we have something at this new facility. But the other, I think, really great thing is all summer we have rec leagues that are playing baseball. There's little kids all over the place, and this gives an opportunity, you know, for them to come play on equipment and have fun too. So I think there's a couple fold purpose there for the community.
The other thing I had is we purchased something called Common Curriculum, and it is a web-based program where the teachers go in and they put their lesson plans into the system, and then as administrators we can click on there and we can view any lesson plans we want from our office at any time, and it also keeps those year long, and we're also going to put our curricular maps in there. So an advantage will be one, you know, we can review those whenever we want, and also the other advantage is it's all in the same format. And if we get a new teacher, let's say we have a teacher that doesn't come back and we get a new teacher, we've got a year's worth of lesson plans in there, we've got our curricular maps in there, it's archived for the next year, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel when we hire someone new, which I think is going to be outstanding. And it just gives us a common place to make that a little more professional and not the wild west that it is when you have individual teachers doing their own things. So that actually starts this week. We got a partial license to finish the year to try it out, and then we'll get a full license for next year. Cool. Excited about that? Yeah, thank you.
I guarantee we've got high school kids that definitely want to play on that. In fact, I might send them up there. Seriously. It is really cruising right now. If you think about it, total days until graduation, we have 73 days, total days. So that's kind of eye-opening. It doesn't include, I tell you what, the 4-day week, things move really quick. You gotta get stuff done. So we really feel that. But we're moving really well. Just wrapped up winter sports. Cheer went to state, didn't get any hardware, but it was really cool to send them off. State wrestlers went, we qualified 11 state wrestlers, so it was pretty cool to send them off. Only one kiddo, Talon, earned a spot on the podium. Some really cool things. Spring sport numbers. We have 131 out of our 305 roughly students right now are participating in spring sports. So that's a really good percentage. It's right where we want to be. I changed the format of our letter a little bit because we just had so much going on. It's hard to just paragraph everything, so I'm more bullet pointing. So hopefully that helps. Just because there's so many different things going on, and there's no way I can speak on all of it. Our leadership class did something really neat that Marcy and Glenn and I got to be a part of, and they did what was called the Shark Tank. So Angie had all of the kids get into groups and present specific ideas to us as sharks to better our school, and the kids came up with some really neat ideas. It was pretty cool to see their ideas, their ingenuity, and how they want to make our school better. They came up with some, honestly, many things that we're going to implement and put to the table, including things like putting an announcement board in the main hallway with a TV, so that when you walk into the building, you know exactly what's going on, because, you know, with the high school, there's a bajillion moving parts, and nobody really knows what's going on all the time. So that's just one idea that we have. Another thing that we started in the last couple of months is the CTSO, JST, so our career and technical student organizations, our CTE programs. We had a couple of our older kiddos come to us and say, we're really struggling trying to get everybody on the same page. Again, there's just too many moving parts. So two young male students decided they wanted to create a leadership program within the school for those CTSOs. They had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they have a meeting tomorrow morning at 7:30 with all of the presidents and vice presidents of the CTSOs, so they can start aligning on goals, when they're going to meet, what fundraisers they might be doing, and most importantly for all of us, building leadership skills. They looked at bringing in other leaders from around the state to train them, as well as some of our staff and some of our administrators. And so we really need that in the school. We're getting to a point where the culture is changing, but now we need student leadership to take over. You know, I can only get up in front of them so often. They need to hear it from their peers, and this is a big part of it. Our HOSA students just got back this last week, a really big bonus. They didn't get any hardware, but Casey Self, our senior, was voted vice president for the post-secondary for the whole state of HOSA. So even as a freshman in college, he will still go back and meet with that CTSO in those leaderships and be a part of the state at that level. It's a really big honor. It's a really big honor for Payette. And he's one of those kiddos that helped put together that leadership. College and career readiness, we're still rocking on that. Holly's doing a great job. We've got kids signing up for FAFSA, Apply Idaho, more than we've ever had. And we've got several kids committed to going to colleges. We've got 15 seniors going to college already for academics. 7 students have already committed to trade schools. And then we've got 5 kiddos committed to one of the branches of the military, which is awesome, because we're just continuing to push that post-secondary. And we do have a McCain Scholarship Award winner at Payette. Catherine Tompkins got it, which is a full ride for scholarship. She's an amazing student, well deserved. And then finally, looking to the future, goal-wise, on April 24th, I'm really excited about this. We are going to do a serve day, the academy with Marcy and our school. It's the same week that the community's doing their serve day. On the 25th, they're doing it. We're going to have all of our students for the morning from 8:45 to 11 go to the Kiwanis Park and the Library Park, and they're going to serve our community through work and jobs. And so I've met with the board members of the service board for the city, and they've already given us jobs and to-dos, and now I'm organizing it so that we can get on buses and go to the parks and put our kids to work so that our kids can serve our community, because that's a really, really big deal. We want to continue to put that positive platform out for our community. We ask a ton of our community from fundraising and just miscellaneous things, and we need to be able to give back. And that's just the idea that we came up with to kind of piggyback on the service weekend that we have as a community. So lots of organization and logistical items that I'm still hashing out, but it's going to be really cool. We're going to have, with Marcy's kiddos, we'll have almost 400 kids working in the community, and we'll have almost 40 staff members out there with them. So really cool stuff. Any questions?
The 24th of April.
What's that?
That's the 24th.
24th of April. Yes, sir. Nice. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
official word on the academy that our accreditation has moved forward, which is, it's taken longer than I had hoped it would have, but we met with them last week. And they're coming, or they will meet with us to finalize the accreditation on, May 6th. So we have about 2 months to put all of this stuff together, to do that. So we're kind of excited, to have that, excited and a little overwhelmed to, put all of that together in the next 2 months. Our enrollment is held steady, and our ADA is still really strong at about 90%, which is lower than we would like, but is still, I think, acceptable. But it would be nice. Some of the fun things that we've done this month are kids. I think I mentioned that we were going to do a themed dress-up week, but the most popular dress-up day that we had was so cute. Was Dress Like a Teacher Day, and the kids dressed up like their teachers, and the teachers dressed up like kids, and that was really, really cute. And so we had one meltdown because a teacher didn't dress up like that student, and so the kid had a really bad day because they were upset that they were chosen to be the kid that they dressed up like. But we made it through that, and so it was just, we had a lot of kids participate that week in Dress Up Week, and that was kind of fun. We want to do another one because they didn't get to have Adam Sandler Day, and I did break it to them that they can dress up like they want any day, but they want Adam Sandler Day. So we'll probably have another one. The teachers are really working this year on a lot more project-based learning because that really works with this kid. We've done some really fun things. This last quarter, we did in biology, they built volcanoes. In our forensic science class, they constructed mini crime scenes, which were kind of scary. We are writing a class book in mythology and going to publish that. So they have a copy of the myths and legends and things that they've written. And then one of our elective classes is a board game class that we're sneaking additional math skills in, so they have to use math and figure out how to put that into classes, and so they've been designing their own board games and things like that. So we've had some kind of fun with some project-based learning this semester, or this quarter, and so we're finishing that up, and I'm looking forward to some more fun things this quarter.
Thank you.
So I know you haven't had a chance to come tour my new building, but I would like to invite you all to come tour my new building before your next board meeting in April. And I will have snacks and goodies available between 5:45 and 6:15. And I've included some pictures, some before and after pictures. This building it's just phenomenal. And I want to thank Dr. Croft especially for saying you deserve this, and recognizing how hard the team works. So we went from having 2 offices to now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offices in the building. And we do child find there, so the kids that are going to be 3 or going into preschool, they come to the my building and they do their testing. And the OT takes a spot in the big conference room, and you can see there's a little hopscotch thing there for the kids to see if they can do that, and just different things that they do. The teacher takes them and does their academic testing in another classroom, and then our SLP takes them into her office and tests them for their speech. And so everybody gets to go in their own room, and then I get to talk to the parents and say, hey, let's fill out this questionnaire. And so it works really well. So thank you very much. I included the information about House Bill 291, but I didn't know if you're all geeky about House bills as I am. So I also included a summary on the paper I just handed you. And basically this is the hygiene funds I've been telling you about that every other state except for us and Hawaii have. And it breaks down that program-related costs that are not covered by Medicaid over $15,000 per student Up to $65,000, it would be covered 100% by the state. That's huge. Above 65,000, it'd be 80%, up to a maximum of $100,000 per student. Now, we are very lucky at the moment that we do not have any truly high needs students, but we had one register last spring who was going to need a full-time nurse and a sign interpreter and all kinds of stuff. And so, you know, a sign interpreter is like $30,000 easily. So on the back page, I did kind of do a cost breakdown. I have one student who does require a full-time nurse. If she would choose to come to school full-time, I figure it would cost us at least $50 an hour outside of what Medicaid covers to pay for the nurse. And if this student would attend just 4 hours a day for 160 days, it would cost us about $35,000 a year just for her nursing services. That doesn't include any of the SLP or OT or any of those other services. And so we would recoup like $20,000 of that for $55,000 if they came full time. And I also did a big breakdown of behavior intervention because we have students who have to have one-on-one services. And so there's two different ways to do it. You can go through a contracted service such as RISE that we use, or we can employ our own district employees. And I did kind of a breakdown of that. Without Medicaid reimbursement, you can see the savings that we would accumulate. With contracted services, we'd have about over $100,000 savings in a year if Medicaid goes away, which I'm really hoping it doesn't. If Medicaid doesn't go away, then our costs are pretty much matched. They wouldn't come in, they would come in under the $15,000. So it's currently being held in the House. It was supposed to be read for the third time on Thursday. My friend Sony Galavies told me they're still holding it. I don't know what their holdup is, but I contacted Representative Schertz and Representative Boyle. Representative Schertz replied right away that yes, he will be for us. And so, I don't know, have you heard anything?
On Canada, every single school district is eagerly behind this.
Oh, yeah.
So, I know it has a lot of support. We're just saying, the big argument I've heard is, or not the argument, discussion is, you know, anything that's over what we get from our federal funds is our maintenance of effort, and that's another way of saying it's a special education term for discretionary funds.
Yeah.
So it basically, in some cases, cuts our discretionary funds pot in half. And so then you add on top of that someone that's very, you know, specialized high needs, and you can budget ahead of time. Let's say you get them in September, now you're $100,000 over your budget. And so where does that money come from? Discretionary funds.
Extra teachers.
Teachers funds, para, wages, sports, everything comes from that pot. So, this is very popular. So anyway, with everything that's happened, I would be shocked if this didn't go through, but I've been shocked before.
Yeah, they did allocate, $3 million on top of the budget that they first asked for, so it would be an extra $3 million for the whole state. And honestly, I think that will be.
They might be holding it, what I've heard, the rumor I've heard is they're holding it, hoping to, as negotiating it, like as a parlay with something else.
Okay.
Is that there's, I mean, they do that sometimes when they hold back on a bill, but I don't know, you know, it's all behind the scenes.
Yeah, I thought I'd have an update for you. Anyway, any questions? Thank you, I'll see you in April at my building.
Alrighty. Great time to be a pirate. The days are getting longer, the weather is getting warmer. We're no longer trudging through snow outside, so I'm super excited about that. Finished up third quarter this last week, and schools are remaining diligently focused on improving student learning outcomes and implementing the professional development strategies from all the work that we've done this year. February wrapped up, our last Marzano session for the year, working on continuing that work as we move forward into next school year. Dr. Brinkerhoff, has recently finished up the last kind of major session, of the trauma-informed care, professional development that she's been doing. We're gonna continue with our monthly check-ins with her, and she's gonna continue pushing out some additional information via our virtual learning site for our staff members. But the big bulk of that learning is done, and is really focused on honing and refining, how we're putting those things into practice in our classrooms and collecting data and evidence on those pieces, and having one-on-one, administrator and one-on-one, teacher discussions over the next few months on how to best support that work. Classroom tours, shameless plug again, classroom tours are a great way to come see all the awesome things that are happening. If anybody wants to come check it out, let me know, and I will schedule some time for us to be in classrooms together. Another piece of professional development that we've recently been able to get started in, the individual school buildings, as you've heard me talk about for about a year now, we were doing instructional rounds as an administrative team, building up that collective understanding of classroom instruction, the direction that we were headed as a district in that regard. We have now turned that into building level instructional rounds, so each building is working with their teacher teams and providing at least an opportunity a month. So we'll have about 4 sessions by the end of the school year where teachers get to go in and observe one another, and learn from each other and be able to see what's happening in other classrooms. You'd think that being right next door to each other, we get to see those kinds of things a lot, but we really don't. So teachers are super excited about the first sessions that they've had, and sharing ideas and strategies. Lots of scuttle in the teacher's lounge about, hey, that thing was really cool. How did you do that? Where did you find that? How can I modify that for my situation? So that's been really exciting. And our administrators have done a great job putting that work all together and organizing those things. It takes a lot to be able to cover classrooms for teachers to be able to get out and see one another. So our administrators had a little bit of a task being able to make those work, but they have done a great job, and our teachers are super excited about those opportunities that they're having now. Student achievement and assessment data, the box for the English language proficiency assessment was picked up today and taken to the scoring company, so we're excited to have those results back in probably the middle to end of May. We don't really get those back very early. It takes them a very long time to run them through the scan run. But we will see those as soon as possible, but those are all finished, got everybody tested. Our buildings, again, did a great job making sure that we could facilitate that. We did some facilitation of those assessments a little bit differently this year as well, really leaning into our goal that we set last year to reduce the amount of time that we were losing for assessments, that instructional time lost, so that went very well. There were a few learning curves in there, but we actually, I think, got done probably in a third of the time that it's ever taken us before. We just have a few to wrap up at the end, because we have to keep the window open until the very last day, because we have to continue testing new students who might enroll through the 7th of March. So that's why the materials are just not being sent back, but I think we were pretty much done testing by like the end of the 2nd of February. So that was super exciting. I-Ready diagnostics at McCain and the high school and the academy have been completed for the spring. Our reading and math proficiency in both, which was weird, I had to run the numbers a few different times because it was strange to me. Both in reading and in math, we increased the percentage of students who were at grade level or above by 9%. Like I said, usually it's like a percentage or 2 off, but it was exactly the same, and I ran the numbers lots of times. We've had a 13% reduction in students scoring 2 or more years below grade level. So that's exciting and a tribute to the good work that's being done in each of our buildings. Right now, our predictions, which are completely based off of assessments that are correlated to the ISAT, but you know, there's not like a super amazing tool. We get like 95 to 98% accuracy depending on which assessment we're looking at on our predictabilities. But it looks currently like we're going to hit 37% of our students in the district being at or above grade level for language arts, which if we do that will be a 4.2% increase from last year. And we're looking at about 28% of our students being at or above grade level in math, which would be about a 1.9% increase from last year. So super excited to get those tests underway. As much as I hate testing season, I also love it because it lets us see all that work kind of come out into a tangible number. We are hitting the ground running with those right after spring break. The week after spring break, we start with our science assessments, followed by our ELA assessments and then our math assessments. So the entire month of April, we have some nice chunks of time dedicated to testing, but again, reducing the number of days that our kids are testing, so the amount of instructional hours that we're using still remains a priority focus there. And, ELD curriculum adoptions. So our Student Achievement and Curriculum Committee met in February. We had a video presentation by one of our companies to kind of share the product that they're going to be piloting this upcoming month. Our face-to-face meeting for March has been canceled. We're doing some email back and forth and spending some time working with curriculum materials, which I do have available in the conference room next door. I'm still waiting on a couple and trying to figure out a good way to get, two of our curriculums are digital only, so trying to figure out a good way to have a login station that can actually access that regularly, but we just are getting started with the pilots next week, so I should have all digital materials available by the end of next week, I would say, in the conference room next door. So anybody, community members, board members, committee members can come in and take a look at those programs that we're trying out. We're trying 2 in the classroom. We have one that we've been using as a supplemental material that is available in the conference room right now to look at. So we've kind of piloted that just as a supplement. So we have some information and some data from that one already. And then the other company is one that we've been using, but they've ended the old product and they've repackaged with a new product. And they sent me some really amazing math materials, but we're not adopting math this year, so I'm waiting for the new materials to ship for the ELD curriculum so that we can take a look at that. But we should hopefully have a recommendation for the board by, my goal is the May board meeting, but the June board meeting at the latest. We're gonna wanna make sure that we have some time for really robust discussions. And we do have, moving into the other part of our curriculum committee, the engagement surveys that we send out every single year, the state required surveys. They went live they were supposed to go live last Wednesday, but I had some technical difficulties. They went live last Thursday. Building administrators are going to be sending those out to family and community partners. We're going to be posting QR codes everywhere that we can find. If there's a wall space, we're going to wallpaper it with QR codes so that we get as much community and family feedback as possible. Staff surveys are going out this week, and student surveys will be going out within the next 2 weeks. Buildings are kind of timed a little bit differently with the events that they have going on. Staff and student surveys close before spring break, so I will have the data for those 2 surveys at our next board meeting. And our community survey isn't going to close until April 15th. So that community survey data will come for you in May. And yeah, all the sports, all the things, all the events, state competitions, HOSA, FFA, all the things for the rest of the year. Love to see as many of our community members, many of our board members, many of our teaching staff, families coming out and supporting our kids at these events. This time of year gets super busy and the days are staying longer, so you all feel better early. Questions?
Thank you very much. Okay, just want to do a couple quick updates on some of the projects we have going on. Mr. Bolin was here, so he gave us a little get into the CT. Other than saying that one thing that's been great, that having Mr. Bolin as a project manager for this is they have found ways to cut from originally what the architect had predicted some of the cost estimate. And every line they found ways to cut it. In one specific area, we kind of redrew how the room was set up. The original architects just go in and almost kind of like a bull in a china shop. They just don't look carefully at the pennies and the dollars, they just go in and rebuild everything. So there were certain parts that were calling for eliminating electric panels that now we've kept, and like one was $40,000 savings. So that's a wonderful thing that as they go through, they're finding cost-cutting things that don't take away from our vision or the building, but are just simple cost-cutting techniques that So we can put money into the things that I think we all care about. We don't care where the electric panel is, for example, or wanna move it. You know, another thing is, this is a remodel of a building. There's only a little area that we're building out for a grinding room and an office. That's the only new construction. Everything else is remodel. So, you know, we're not trying to tear down the building and build a new one there. You know, I mean, this is something that's, it's a remodel of a facility that had a lot of the space that we needed in the first place. And so trying to work around what we have versus eliminating everything, I think has been huge. But having competent local contractors that make recommendations all the time and say, well, we could save money here and here. That's been significant. We're well over a few $100,000 in savings so far. We have a meeting every Thursday where they kind of break it down item by item. So that's something that you don't often get if, you know, going out to a big general contractor. They certainly are not going into the project looking for a lot of ways to save the district money. They're going to follow the plans, but they're not specifically being creative. If so, they would submit a change order and they would charge you for that as, you know, anyways. So that's a positive. Other projects is we finished the conference room at the high school. We just simply took PHS, two very narrow rooms, moved the counselor to the former bookkeeper office, and then knocked the wall down in between and left an area for a supply closet. Since the former supply closet became the new bookkeeper office. We wanted the bookkeeper actually in the front office versus around back where students were using the administrative areas as kind of a pass-through to get to the bookkeeper's office. It made no sense. So now we have a window, almost like one of those theater windows you walk up to, and you can pay fees and right there, or you can go into the office and sit in our office as well. Both, but the registrar and the bookkeeper are within eyesight of each other for backing up, you know, when they need to at the front desk. We didn't have that before. It was an awkward setup. So we moved the counselor to the old bookkeeper office and then tore down the wall in between. I don't know if you guys remember our old conference room at the high school. If everybody was sitting, the person at the very back end of the room couldn't get out. You had to have everyone stand up and shuffle out. We had that actually recently with a trainer. She was standing there and you could tell she was like trying to exit the room, and we all had to shuffle off one side. So we said, your conference room is too narrow when you can't get around the chairs behind. So anyways, I think they actually now have a room where you can put a table and have crazy things like space on both sides. So, nice things like that. Anyway, so to me, it's more of a functioning conference room. They do their IEPs, there's a lot of meetings they have in that room. So, and then we put new carpet and paint into it, spruced it up a little bit. Put the wires in the wall behind the TV and do stuff like that. Parking lot. This is one of the big ones and it's probably 30 years overdue or more. 50 years overdue. I feel like an auctioneer. Yep, 50. Okay. This project right now, we have Bolin's our project managing, so they're going out and collecting numbers. We're looking at different scenarios that we can bring to the board and present options. It looks like asphalt is somewhere around $5.50 per square foot. So when we're looking at how much square feet of the parking lot, basically I'm saying that we want to get as much done within budget as we possibly can. So we're seeing exactly how far that budget stretches. But I feel like we're in good hands to try to make that happen. We're also talking about moving some of the lights from the CTE Center, pouring new concrete pads to put them on, and then reinstalling, painting, putting LED bulbs in, and reusing some of the lights in the CTE parking lot. We don't need, they have street lights already on that road, plus they have the dealership lights that we're just mainly shining on the car. We have no lights in our front parking lot other than that are on the building. So you drive by, in the winter time, and it doesn't look like a high school because it's almost pitch black as you drive by. It's odd. Usually high school parking lots and that are usually lit up. So putting some lights in when we do the parking lot, here's our chance to do that, and also put some lights in back. So we want to put it.
And also on Highway 95.
Yeah, and so you could see you have a lit parking lot that we can have for students at that time, which I think safety. There's a lot of benefits all around to having lights in front and back. And we didn't need all the lights in the CT Center. So hopefully our next board meeting, we should have our options to take before you guys. And I'll have a recommendation and then you guys decide what you want to should have that bid by our next meeting. And that'll start the day school gets out. They'll start with one of the lots, close it off, and then they'll flip it. And the other thing really briefly to touch on is moving the welding area creates the opportunity to remodel that space. Our health classrooms have been in the dome, in those little back areas. We've talked about, Kurt and I have had conversations about transforming those into like a team room. We had mentioned another board meeting, a team room and a visiting team, kind of a locker room or a space, congregating space for them. Moving the health classroom over to the welding, taking that room and creating a weight room, so it's not in that outside facility, using that more for baseball, softball, batting cages, and then athletic storage, which we need anyways. Moving the weight facility inside, adding a bathroom, and then also adding a classroom for health that could also connect to the weight room. When they do advanced weights, they have a classroom portion, they can also have a part of the weight room. But that facility, I think that'd be a good use of bringing that inside, and having the health classroom be more connected to the area where they're gonna lift. So it's something that we've looked over, plans, and we should have a proposal for that in the very near future. But we can start on that right as soon as they go to state, after June 10th, move the stuff, put it all in storage pods, maybe, and move it over to the CT center, and then start doing that. It would be it's a remodel, but it's kind of more of a light remodel. Just interior walls, mainly. We're not doing any major structural there. So anyways, it gives us options for space.
Yeah, excited to hear about that.
Yeah.
All right, anything else, sir?
No, that's all I have.
All right, that officially moves to item number 17, which is the executive session, which is supposed to be public.